What's up everyone? Welcome back to Snack Time. My name is Ben, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Chiyogami. Basically, it's a Pastebin alternative that is self-hosted, open source, and is developed and worked on by a Martin Cabera, and it's definitely a really cool one, bunch of really cool features. Let's go ahead. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to show you the platform, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set it up on your own server using Docker, Portainer, and Nginx Proxy Manager so that you can expose it to the net. But if you decide you don't want to expose it to the net, you just want to keep it local, we'll talk about that too. Let's jump in, and I'm going to start a little bit at a different place. I want to show you the about section, which I think is kind of cool, and basically said, why did I make it? Just because I didn't like the other ones, and this one has a much more modern sense, and public pastes are easily searchable, so that's pretty freaking hilarious. I love that. All right, so let's go home, and what we're going to be presented with here is you can just start pasting in things. So like let's see, I have one thing I can post in here. So say we have like a PowerShell script, something we want to share, and we paste it in there. We can just hit create post. We can give it an expiration time, day, month, couple of minutes, or never. And then you can also give it a password. You can choose its visibility, which is public, which means it can show up on the front page under this pastes up here, or unlisted, which means it's not going to show up. And then you have private, and then obviously we have our password, which will require someone to punch in a password, even if you have set up a user account, which is kind of cool. And so let's look at that. If I hit create paste at the very bottom, it does format my code, which I like. We can take a look at the top here. I can copy the URL for this paste. I can punch in this, I can copy this QR code and send it off, take a picture of that, and that'll also get us in the same spot, or I can just go home. If I do, I copy that, the URL, let's go ahead and just paste that, and here we go. Here is our paste right there with this random kind of characters creating that. So that brings me to one of my first things that I'm not a huge fan of. If you do go to pastes at the top, yeah, it lists everything here, but it's not something like you can't change the names, even if it's one that you signed in. So I hope that the developer decides to let us modify this name, or at least give us a way to add some sort of like description right here, which would be really cool, because while you can search, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to easily find what you're looking for. Let's do this. I want to see if I can just search through all of the different pastes. So if I just do a search here, okay, cool. That's neat. So you can do a search for the code, and it will bring up the one that has that code listed on it. So definitely kind of cool. That's definitely helpful, and will make finding things a little bit easier. So very cool. Let me show you one other thing that you can do if you want to control the things that you are posting. You can sign up for an account. So if we click on this little icon over here, we can do a sign in, or sign up rather, and we just need a username and password. So let's do Ben, and let's do just an easy password. All right, so it says registration unique constraint failed. So maybe there's already a Ben. Ooh. All right, there was already a Ben. Neat. Must have signed in already. Not a problem. All right, so it says registration successful. Let's go ahead and sign in now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit login. I'm gonna do Ben2, type in my password. And there we go. We have Ben2 already set up. We can delete things. We can just delete our entire account, or we can see any sort of pastes that we've created. We don't have anything right now. And then we also have a sign out. So all good options. I like anything that allows you to remove your own account should you choose to head off somewhere else. So let's do this. Let's copy that same code that I had just a second ago, paste it in here. I'm going to create a paste, and if I go back to home, I can click on my little drop down here, and I'm going to click on pastes. So here we go. I have my pastes and has the random code here when it was created, I believe, or when it was expiring. No, that's when it's created. So yeah, if we click on view, we can jump in here and see that ourselves doesn't appear like we can edit them though, which that would be handy if we could. Let's see, I'm signed in. No, I can't edit it. I can still just copy it. So this is kind of just a maybe a feature request. Let's see. So if we click this, that just changes the view between the code view and just a regular document. Good to know. Good to know. Let's see. There is one thing that I want to show you here that I think is kind of strange too. So say we have a script that we want to post. And if I can click on unlisted, and that will just not list it when I click on paste. But if I hit private and I generate that, it's not going to show up on the front page, which is normal. But if I paste in the URL, I can still get to it. And if I sign out, I can still get to it from here too. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not signed in. I can still get to this private one, even though I am not authenticated. So if you are going to post ones that you do need to have some sort of protection, you can always enter a password, and you don't even have to have an account for that. Let's see. So I'll create this one, and here is my paste is encrypted. Provide the password to view the context or the content, and just type in password, and there it goes. Let's see. So does that show up? Is that HQ? No, it doesn't show up, but still, I would like for the private to not show up at all and not be accessible unless you are authenticated and have made the decision to make that public or whatnot. Because it's almost like unlisted and private are kind of like the same thing. They're just not going to show up either way. But hopefully, you know, if you know better than I do, leave a comment down below and let me know, hey, Ben, you're wrong. All right. Next up, I'm going to show you how to install this. Super easy. Not going to take any time at all. And let's go ahead and jump into that like right now. All right. So when we arrive at Martin's GitHub page here, we will have all of the files that we need, some nice screenshots, a list of the features that this has. Also has a nice API if you're interested in using the API. There is a little bit of instruction down here at the bottom. So definitely that's a great feature. I appreciate anybody that adds a usable API in their system. Now let's do this. Let's jump into our Docker Compose file. That's going to be the file that we're going to need to put into our Portainer. All right, so I'm going to copy this, and then we will kind of go over all of the different things that you're going to need to do here, the things that you'll need to change. So let's copy this first and head over to our Portainer, and let's go ahead and make a stack. I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to paste this content. I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to copy this name and put it up here at the top. All right, so like we do with everything, let's jump in and kind of go through this kind of line by line so you know everything that it's doing. And if there's something you need to change, then you know what it is. All right, first up, we have the container name. That's kind of obvious. We could probably even remove that because we're already establishing that at the top. Next up, we have our cap drop all. Now, this is the first time I've seen this in any sort of Docker Compose that I've ever worked with. And basically what that is it drops all capabilities of the Linux container, which is kind of cool. So it's definitely a way to keep it from doing anything except for the few things that you or the developer has wanted it to do. Next, we have the capacity that the capabilities that it does add, which is the set GUI, set GID, set the group ID, set the user ID, and also chown, which is change ownership, in case you didn't know. The next one is security op. Basically what that means is security options. It's going to not grant itself any additional privileges, which is definitely, I think that's pretty cool as well. The official way that they explain it is it ensures the container cannot gain additional privileges even if it executes a binary with a set UID, a set GID, bit set. This helps mitigate escalation risks. So kudos to Martin for adding that in there. So very cool. Next up, we have a couple of things that we're going to need to take care of. We're going to need to set a random string here, and it says run this in Linux. And if you are running Linux, it's obviously that's pretty easy to do. But if not, I want to give you a site that you'll be able to use to generate this same random string with a base 64 32-bit. If you go to this site here, and I want to open up a new tab for you, it's the generate.plus /en base 64. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to change this to 32. We'll go in the opposite way and hit generate. And once that generates that like string here, let's just go ahead and copy this guy. Let's head on back to our Portainer. Let's zoom back in and let's just paste our secret random string right there. Next up says you can run this. It's the user 1000. And this will allow you to, I believe, write to the file system, which is cool. But actually, let's do this. Before we do that, let's get back up to the volumes again. I didn't want to blow past that because I do want to change that here. So this one is essentially creating a folder, and I want to do I want to allow Portainer to manage my volumes. So what I'm going to do is remove this period slash and just put in pastes. And then at the bottom, we'll create the volumes. And I just like doing it that way because it makes it a lot easier to manage from within Portainer. I can go to volumes. I can see exactly the volume is created and where it's being stored, and they store all of their volumes under like a certain path, like it's var lib docker or something or another. So, all right, so let's do this. Let's keep scrolling down. You can set these if you want to. I didn't, and it worked just fine. Maybe if you need to write files or whatnot, let's do this. I'm going to uncomment these out and just leave them as that. I'm going to also remove the comment out for paste duration and leave it at 24 hours. All right, so, and next up we have our ports. This is the part where you have to ask yourself a question of, do I want to expose this to the internet, or do I want to only run it locally? If you do only want to run this locally, you can do that. I don't know why he's doing 127.0 because that's kind of only going to listen on the local host as far as I know, which may cause you some problems. So what I usually do is I would just remove this and just leave it right there, just 8,000 to 8,000 TCP. And that will allow you to run it locally without proceeding with the next steps of creating a subdomain and routing it through Nginx Proxy Manager. If you do want to make it internet facing, like the way that I want to do, I'm going to comment these out completely. Maybe you guys can tell me if I leave it as 127.0.0.1, is that going to cause it so that I can't access it from my network? I think it will. Hey, prove me wrong. All right, next up, I think that's it. Let's zoom out. Let's go ahead and deploy this guy. I think we have everything here that we need. Oh, no, one more thing. You thought we were done. How silly of you. We do need to make some volumes. If we did hit deploy here, we would run into an error message saying, hey, the paste volumes just doesn't exist, man. I don't know what you want me to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put volumes, then a colon, tab, and then I'm just going to make a pastes volume. And that's just putting that name pastes with another colon, matching this guy right here. If you decide to go with a different name, then just change it right there and change it right here. All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and deploy this stack. Yay! It has deployed successfully. You gotta love that. All right, let's do this. Let's go to containers. If you did decide you only wanted to run it locally, you should be done. You should just be able to replace the port number right here with just like 8,000 and hit enter. Maybe you might have to also remove the HTTPS if that exists for you. But since we did not, we're proceeding with the Nginx Proxy Manager, which requires us to join that Nginx Proxy Manager container to the same network as our Chiyogami. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and click on that. Let's scroll down to at the very bottom where we can join networks with this Nginx Proxy Manager container. I'm going to make myself just a smidget smaller, and let's drop this down and let's select our Chiyogami default and let's join. Once we are joined, we can see at the very bottom that we have picked up an IP address and life is good. All right, for my next step, I'm going to be using Nginx DNS because it just works. If you decided you use someone else for your domain, then the steps will be very similar. But if you have questions, you're always welcome to leave them down below and I'll try to direct you. Namecheap makes it easy. I just go into the domain. I have my synhow.com right here. I'm going to go under my advanced DNS and I'm going to add a new record. I'm going to select a record. And now we need to decide what the website is going to be. What is our subdomain going to be for our new Pastebin alternative? I may not want to type in Chiyogami every single time. Let's just do Gami. There we go. You make whatever you want. I don't care. And I'm going to copy this IP address. This is the external IP address of my server. And I'm going to hit save changes. All right. That part is done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's go to our Nginx Proxy Manager next. And under the hosts right here, from proxy hosts specifically, we're going to create our new host to get traffic to our new site. All right, so let's create a new one. And I want to zoom in a little bit so you can see. And I'm just called mygami.synhow.com. That's my subdomain. And now I need to tell it where I want to route the traffic to. Very easy to find that out. I'm going to show you where. We're going to use the host name, not the IP address, because the IP address may change. Host name's a lot easier to keep up with. It looks like it just used the container name of Chiyogami because that's what we specified. So let's copy that. Let's paste it here. Now it's asking for a port. And I know you remember, but for those of us who have forgotten, I'm going to show you where to find that. If you go back to your Portainer, you can go under stacks. You can go under the one that you just created and go under editor. And we'll look at our ports. And remember, if we look right here, this is the port that was going to be opened on our host. And this is the port that our container is expecting to see traffic. So that's 8,000. We're going to make our lives easier. We're going to copy it. And we're going to go back to Nginx Proxy Manager. I'm going to zoom back in again just to make you a little seasick. And I want to paste it here. And now I'm going to say block common exploits and WebSocket support. And let's save. All right, so we see that we have it. It's set up. It's only an HTTP only. I want to add some encryption. So I'm going to click on these little 3 periods here and I'm going to edit. And now I'm going to go to my SSL. I'm going to drop this guy down. I'm going to request a new one and I want to force it. I don't want you to to give them the option of going unencrypted. I'm going to agree to terms of service, and I'm going to hit save. I did everything right. This little window should disappear, and in its place will be just the list. And if I screwed it up, there'd have been an error, but I didn't. So yay. All right. I think we have everything done. Let's click on argami.sinhow.com and let's see what we get. Cool. There we go. So this is set up. We can now start pasting our code. I'm going to just do HTML, hi, and then, all right. And I'm going to set this public, visible, and create a paste. And here we go. It's reading the code correctly, and it's created a name for me. And like I said, I don't see where that change in the PID, the PUID or the group made a difference at all. If I go to pastes, here's a couple of ones that I had created before. This was I basically just used the same volume that was created previously. That's why it's picking up additional ones that you have never seen before. But there's our most recent one. So you can take my word, it worked fine. All right, so let's see here. That is about it. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to set up. Definitely one of the quicker ones, and hopefully you found this beneficial. If you do have any questions or comments, always leave them down below. If you found this video helpful, I would encourage you to leave me a thumbs up, and really appreciate you spending some time with me, and I will talk to you on the next video. Until then, you guys take it easy.